Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Totally Radical Cartoon Podcast. Once again, we're here for another look into an episode of an 80s cartoon. My name is Randy, and once again, I am joined by my co-host, as always, Phil. Phil, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I am doing great. This is really bringing me back, dude. Like, I really have this episode we're about to do. It brought me back, man. I'm doing fantastic. Let's do it.
All right, and before we get into the episode today, just a little bit of good housekeeping here. Just a few notes as we usually do for every episode here. Totally Radical Cartoon Podcast is a production of Geek World Order, where geeks unite. Check out geekworldorder.com for event photography, our podcasts, features of other podcasts, and other great geeky content. geekworldorder.com is where you go. Also, follow us on social media. Go to facebook.com/geekworldorder. And you can also go to Twitter and Instagram, both at Geek World Order. And there is our social plug. And man, I am ready to get into this episode because today we are the Central Organization for Podcast Specialists. We are C.O.P.S. We're fighting boredom in the modern times.
C.O.P.S.
C.O.P.S. And Phil, it's podcasting time.
Oh my God. Like, I had a hard time remembering the cartoon, but as soon as I heard that theme song, as soon as it went, that brought everything back, dude. Like, I used to have action figures. I used to have all kinds of stuff.
Oh, dude.
Like, I remember how much I loved it.
Oh, dude, man. I was looking up stuff just to get ready for this episode. Like, I saw some of the toy commercials. Oh, I didn't realize the toys had, like, the little cap gun feature in them.
Yeah.
Like, you could...
So it would actually, like, it would go pop, pop. Like, it would actually sound like pretty much a cap gun gunshot.
Right. And for those who don't know the series, C.O.P.S. is sort of like a futuristic... obviously, it's a law enforcement show. It's kind of like G.I. Joe in a specialty group. You know, the cops are all individual elements, but they've got, you know, special abilities. They've got special skills they all utilize, and of course, they are led by the wonderful Bulletproof. And this guy is like smooth, bro.
Yo, he really is with that voice and everything like this.
And
so we are cops. Like, damn, son, are you in good hands?
Yes, you're in all-state hands.
I am bulletproof. Are you in good hands?
and
let me point out, I forgot how brolic strong this dude was.
Dude, right?
Like, I watched the episode and he fought, like, the henchman's name is escaping me, but he basically overpowered the crap out of him.
Wow. There's definitely a reason he's the C.O.P.S. commander.
Pretty much. And his name is Bulletproof on top of that.
Right.
Which I had a really bad joke prepared for that, but I'm going to leave that alone.
But yes, today
Bulletproof, huh? You're going to need that in today's society.
Ooh, yeah, moving on, folks. And today we are taking a look at the case of the crime convention. And this was actually a really interesting premise for an episode. Basically, it all starts out, all of the big-name criminals from around the world are gathered at this hotel. And basically, they are there for a convention of criminals. And, well, there's going to be a little bit of intrigue and a little bit of competition here. And this is definitely, they start talking about, and it really feels like a convention at first because they're talking about just like the different events. Big Boss is up at the front giving the opening address. He's like, oh, we're going to do the crime marches on exhibit. And then,
oh, he drives me nuts.
And then he mentions on the final day of the convention, they're going to have the United Felons Awards Banquet, where they are going to crown the Criminal of the Year.
Oh, man.
And he produces the trophy for this thing, the golden blackjack. So when he pulled this thing out, bro, it looks like a straight dildo.
Yeah, that's. Oh my God. Yeah, he just basically pulled out the the Midas touch of all penises.
It really does, man.
It's a blackjack, say. No, it's not. That's a penis.
Oh, jeez. And, Big Boss, man, he's got that just stereotypical gangster, like, she,
Yeah, that mobster type.
And so we get a bit of a look of two of the more well-known villains of the series, who are known as Berserko and McBoomBoon. And they're basically like,
Boom, boom.
all right, I want this trophy. And that's sort of where the episode goes in a direction of they're basically competing to be named the villain of the year, or the criminal of the year.
By the way, Berserko, his voice, man. What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Lady, he's just got this voice.
Oh, that high-pitched, whiny voice is just really odd.
You know who he reminds me of? Remember the guy from Police Academy? It was like this all the time. Like, that's kind of who he reminds me of. I forgot his name, but he's a comedian.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get that reference because I've never actually seen Police Academy.
Somebody will. He's pretty much it's like this all the time.
Right.
Somebody's gonna get it eventually, but that's who he reminds me of.
So after this, we get a shot of the cops' headquarters, and they're, well, kind of noticing that crime has been very down the last few days. Which, of course, unusual for a series like this, you know, sort of a cartoon series where it seems like something is happening every day. So it's very odd that the crime rate is down.
Oh, yeah. These villains are normally very busy.
But, luckily, there are not one, but two bank robberies that are occurring. They just get the signal out of nowhere. Oh, two at a time now. And so we see Berserko coming out of a bank. He's got a big old sack of cash. He's obviously robbed the place. And as he's walking out the door, he's like, "Hey guys, vote for Berserko for Criminal of the Year." He's like, he's making it known. He's on the campaign
I robbed
trail.
this bank. It puts it out there. Like, really, bro?
He does. I'm like, man, that kind of makes me think of like modern day politicians and most, the last several elections.
Speaking of politicians, the dude with the purple suit and the old face, the Al Gore looking guy. What was his name again?
McBoomBoon.
That's McBoomBoon. Good God, man.
And as he states as he's coming out of his bank, that's one Mac, two booms.
What is with him, dude? That's what I was gonna say. One Mac, two booms.
And
he sounds like he sounds like the priest from the Disney Notre Dame.
Dude, like he's got like a really slick old man voice and
he's
dressed impeccably.
In the pimp suit.
Right, and we don't see it in
this. That is a pimp suit.
And we don't see it in this episode, but McBoomBoom's gimmick is that he basically has these cybernetic enhancements, and he's actually got like guns that come straight out of his chest, which I think you do see it in the intro.
Cannons? Yeah, right? You do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, those are low nipple cannons. his tits are sagging. Those are low nipple cannons. I'm sorry.
And
you dare defy me, taste the wrath of my nipples.
Yes, and as they come out of the bank, they straight up crash into each other backing out of the bank.
Yep.
And they're like, What are you doing here? And what are you doing here? Oh God, it hurt. Oh, it hurts just trying to imitate that voice of Berserko.
Dude, it's so he's such a big dude with a hard ass face, and he just has that squealy voice.
Oh,
Like a good boxer, I guess, but
yeah. But they don't have time to waste because here come the cops.
oh, dude, they're always on point. That's what I love about that show.
Dude, they got some crazy vehicles, man.
Oh, they do. They're gadgets. Like, what's his name? Hardtop has got that Spidey click gun going on.
Oh, yeah, but unfortunately, they make off pretty quickly, and so the cops don't catch him here. And we go back to the convention where Big Boss is practicing some really bad jokes. Like, bruh, he literally practices his joke where he's gonna go up to his podium. He announces, "Yes, I just need to make it known that the hotel management has told us that someone has been stealing towels." Pause for effect. Oh my god, this joke was so bad.
It was very bad.
Berserko comes into the room because, if for those who may not know, Berserko is actually the nephew of Big Boss.
That he is.
So he's coming for advice and trying to figure out, how can I win this Criminal of the Year? And Big Boss basically goes, you gotta go big. You gotta go big here, boy. The bigger the better. Which, I mean, yeah, I guess that's pretty good advice if you're wanting to be noticed. What better way than to go big?
They pull off some Grand Theft Auto 5 type stuff to be that thing.
And so we go to a scene where Dr. Bad Vibes, another of the prominent villains on this series, is actually working on basically the display piece for the Crime Marches On exhibit. Like, he's trying to get
No, go ahead, sorry.
He's trying to get all the presentation elements, like he's literally in convention mode trying to make sure things go according to plan.
That's Mr. Braincase. That's one of the things, honestly, that brought me back because he was one of the first action figures I had from C.O.P.S.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went from there. So I remember that Braincase specifically.
Yeah.
Because they had it to where there was moisture in the Braincase, so it looked like an actually wet brain. It was crazy. That was one of my favorite toys for a while.
Right. So McBoomBoon comes in here and he's actually looking for help from Dr. Bad Vibes, but Bad Vibes is kind of like, I really don't have time for this. I gotta make this thing. And it's sort of like the thing through this episode, just he's trying to make the centerpiece, this big electrical display, and it just kind of keeps breaking on him.
Yeah, it keeps popping and exploding. The bulbs are bursting.
He's literally
he's really doing a bad job.
He's literally like a cosplayer whose costume is just breaking every step of the way. It's take 5 steps. Oh, another piece is falling off. Oh, another piece. Someone bring in the duct tape to fix this thing. So.
Oh man.
So yeah, basically McBoomBoon comes up with his own plan of a big shenanigan. He's gonna steal a cop's vehicle. He is gonna straight up steal a vehicle. This is insane.
And is this basically at this point? Is this where Enter the Berserko posters comes up?
Almost.
Because that was funny. What the hell is this? He was pissed.
Right. But yeah, so we go to the cops' headquarters, and Hardtop is working on his vehicle, which is this insane, roadster-looking thing, man. But it's cool. So But literally, McBoomBoom goes straight in there and straight up steals the vehicle. Like, and this is pretty brazen, dude, man. Like, he is straight up on it, because he's definitely got a plan, and, I mean, let's face it, he straight up executed.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was not good.
And no.
Like, well...
Yeah, so basically he gets out, he makes a stop real quick, and yes, he sees big giant banners on the sides of the buildings. Berserko for Criminal of the Year. So it's like...
with that big, weird, underbite smile. I don't know. Yeah. His face.
But yeah, no, basically this whole episode is like, top this.
Pretty much. It's like a huge one-up.
Dude, so we get a chase. Hardtop chases him in this, like, his slick roadster vehicle. And he literally gets, like, stopped by, like, 2 trucks. Like, McBoomBoom kind of manages to weave in and out of some trucks. And then 2 of them just go...
Like he... Oh, right. Go ahead. That's what I was getting to. It's like, did he kind of like mush between them and just... Did he push them off, or did they just veer off?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what happened there, because, like, he just runs off the side of the road. It's like, how? That made no sense at all. I'm like, because those 2 vehicles just boxed Hardtop in. Like, Hardtop's just dealing with New York traffic now.
Pretty much. What are you doing?
But yeah, no. And once again, he keeps... Or no, so basically, once he drives off the bridge and somehow he gets away. It actually takes Hardtop long enough to get to him, dealing with this traffic, that McBoomBoom is just gone.
Yeah, he's not happy, though.
Yeah, no. So we get back, and he's going to Dr. Bad Vibes again, and... Yep, that sign, it just keeps breaking.
He's not good at lights.
No, he's not. And so,
considering he has a glass brain case, he's not good at that stuff.
And yeah, McBoomBoom, he just walks in with the steering wheel of the vehicle.
The smoking hat.
Yeah.
It's like, things happened.
Yeah, would have been a great centerpiece for their crime attraction, but yeah, that didn't work out so well. But we learned that the game is still in play here, because Berserko is... We've learned that Berserko is going to make his next move and make some alterations to a city statue.
Freaking Berserko, dude. Like, he has the most crackpot ideas.
Right? I mean, at this point, it's just like, dude, go big or go home. That's really what they keep doing this whole episode, man.
I mean, not for nothing, but the big boss keeps telling him to do that, so I get it, but, dude, relax.
But yeah. So, once McBoomBoom learns of the statue plan, he straight up calls the cops. He goes to a payphone, calls cops headquarters directly, and straight up snitches him out.
Snitches get stitches.
I mean, that's basically the plan. He was hoping Berserko goes to jail so he could get the Criminal of the Year that way.
Like, I really don't know how that would fly in the criminal crime ring. It's like, yeah, I snitched him out to the cops so I could come out on top. Hey, look at me. Criminal.
Yep.
So
at this point... So the one that answers the phone is an operative by the name of Mainframe, who I believe is the cop's computer person. And
yeah,
I can't remember. Was there a video at any point? Oh, I know there had to be, because I swear, I think she said something about the guy was wearing a hat. And somehow couldn't recognize who it was. Just like a anonymous tip, but you've got like a video phone, and you saw the guy wearing like this purple hat and didn't put it together. Okay,
Wow.
whatever. So these two,
That is funny.
so Hardtop and Mainframe, they head out to the scene to check out the tip. And yes, they see Berserko and another villain. Oh, which I cannot remember his name. I want to say it's like Rock Crusher or something. So, but
is he the one with the prison hat?
Yeah, and he's got like the jackhammer.
He's got the jackhammer. He's got that huge like undergum thing going on,
right?
Like where his lip is like tucked into his mouth.
Oh yeah, dude! Like all the villains on this show are drawn with just like these exaggerated comic features.
Yeah, like he really had that undergum going on.
Oh man, that was insanity.
Like that needs medical attention. That was swollen.
Yeah. But yeah, so the plan is that Berserko is going to cover this city statue in concrete and have the other villain just reshape it to look like him. So he's literally just going to leave his mark on the city with his own statue.
Oh boy. Like, I guess, I mean, again, his... what did he tell him? Go big or go home? Pretty much so.
Right. So we do get the two cops come in, and unfortunately they do not do very well in trying to apprehend the criminals.
No.
They get the concrete poured on them.
And they get their typical cement shoes put on them, too.
Yep. So
Like, cement shoes, hey?
And this is like the quickest drying cement ever, dude. Like their feet are trapped within like seconds.
Yeah.
Like, I I guess if you're going to be in this futuristic time and just have all these
that quick
resources
dry cement going on.
Obviously they've got some kind of criminal technology they're working. But as our cops are in certain peril, of course, we have to have our wonderful 80s trope of the good guys are in danger, so we have to go to commercial. And we'll be back in just a minute, folks, as well.
All right.
The case of the big chase. Officer Roadblock grabbed a squad car to stop Cuckoo before he got away.
Set the barricade!
And Officer Taser brought the paddy wagon to blast Hyena. Cop, squad car, and paddy wagon sold separately with caps.
Fighting crime in a future time.
If we're gonna stop the crooks, us cops gotta know who they are. That's the Rock Crusher. No jail can hold them. And here's Berserko, a dangerous street punk. Meanwhile, at the crooks' hideout.
Look out for Long Arm. He's a tough street cop. Sergeant Mace, the SWAT team leader. And Bulletproof's a federal agent.
Give up, you crooks! You're surrounded by the cops!
Cops and crooks sold separately with caps.
All right, and we are back. And of course, as we come back to commercial, of course, our heroes had just been encased in concrete, and they are being taken towards the convention center where the crime syndicate convention is happening. And we're now closer to the main event itself, and Dr. Bad Vibes, man, got this crazy pink suit going on.
Yes, with the rose in the like jacket and everything. And also, there's another observation I wanted to mention. What's the guy's name again with the pimp suit on?
McBoomBoon.
McBoomBoon looks like a very unhappy Joker.
Old man
Doesn't
Joker.
he? It's like old man Joker. He's like, I don't want to be funny anymore. Like he's just not Like, he just doesn't care anymore.
Right?
And he tried to go the way of a pimp, and it failed miserably. So now he just doesn't care about anything.
It's just sort of the test of time. It's like, well, crime has definitely taken its toll on you. You can clearly tell this guy has been beaten a few times, and yeah, he's sort of losing his will to live.
Yeah, he just does not care. So much, in fact, that he snitched.
Right. And
I still can't get over that. Like, he snitched.
And speaking of snitching, we go to the main exhibit hall where everyone's, sitting at their tables, just being, waiting for the ceremony to happen. And, bruh, Big Boss straight up calls out that someone stooged on him, on his nephew.
Yep. That does not go well in the crime syndicate at all.
No.
That's a snitch.
That's the thing, like, even just, like, watching the scene, like, I couldn't see if he was, like, directly hinting at McBoomBoon. Like, I'm not sure if he knew. Like, I didn't see him, like, kind of indicate in any way.
He kind of turned towards him, and McBoomBoon was like, like his face.
Okay, I may have missed that, because I didn't see that.
He kind of made a face. Because he kind of turned in his direction, and McBoomBoon was like,
whatever, I'm old, I don't care anymore.
Pretty much.
Yes, and he actually says, somebody stooged on my nephew. Where's the honor among thieves?
And then that's when he makes the face. Like, they zoom in on him, like...
I think I was just laughing at the audacity of the statement so much that I didn't actually catch
exactly.
that. I mean, that's kind of thing, man. Some of these shows, like, sometimes you gotta watch them over again. It's like, you get so many little things you just miss.
Yeah, those little innuendos.
So, we go back to our heroes. They're in the, wherever that exhibit is. So they have this crazy idea to escape. They're gonna work in tandem and hop off of the... Dude, how the fuck did this work?
What kind of leg and core strength do you have to hop concrete past this gorilla-looking security guard that's anxious for no reason?
So, first they have to work in tandem to get off the platform they're on. But how are they able to jump up? As I would assume what looks like the slab of concrete they're buried in should easily weigh more than both of them combined.
Yeah, and they're just hopping along. And, like, what kind of strength?
Dude, they hop off the platform, and I literally go, how is this working? And then they just keep going. Down the hall.
Exactly, like this...
They bust through a door and, like, knock over the rock crusher guy. And, like, he can't even muster to chase. He's like, whatever.
Exactly. He's like, oh, I don't get paid enough for this.
And, yeah, no, I'm still wondering how this is working. This is literally me. How is this working? And they go out the front door. They hop,
Dude.
hop, right to the payphone.
They smash that door.
Right. I mean, at some point with I would assume the force required to move themselves with the concrete, at some point this concrete would start buckling.
Yeah.
You'd think that much traumatic force would eventually start chipping away at it at least, or make some kind of structural crack. This is like this is somehow the strongest yet weakest concrete ever.
I was going to say, is it like a rubber-like concrete? Because they were just hopping away.
Right?
Here comes the bellboy. Oh, he opens the door.
But yeah,
keep
so
hopping along.
We get they literally hop right to the phone, and they call headquarters. And who answers the phone? Our man Bulletproof.
Slick, soul glow, bulletproof.
Yep. Bulletproof in his glorious Jerry curl.
Just let your soul glow.
But seriously, he's
Yo,
like,
he has got that slick, shiny shit going on.
bro, this dude is calm, cool, and collected. He is like literally the child edition of Shaft.
Pretty much, yeah.
And of course, he says it, folks. It's crime fighting time.
And they all love that.
So,
God, especially what's his face? I forgot. I can't recollect if he's in this episode, but Mace.
yeah, he's in the episode
He is
because he's the one that's got like that red visor and like the orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, he is a lunkhead, dude.
Yeah, he's got. I don't think he actually speaks in this episode, but we do see him in the upcoming battle, and we see some interesting guys in there. Like, and I can't remember any of their names, but like, I swear one of them's a cowboy.
Yeah, he's got the whole Fu Manchu mustache going on.
Yeah, he's totally got like a Texas Ranger Wild West lawman kind of vibe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ooh. So we go back to the crime convention, and Big Boss is, he's going on his speech, he's talking, likes to hear himself. He goes on about always needing to be vigilant, staying alert. And what's Berserko doing? Literally right next to him.
He is nodding off like I do in every lecture I've ever been in.
Bro.
He's just...
And this is like the weirdest sleeping ever, dude, because I don't know if he's snoring or like dreaming or... I don't know what that noise he was making was.
I think it was night terrors. I don't know.
It had to do something. It's like Big Boss is like trying to make his last point again. He's trying to say it loud enough to make Berserko wake up. And then he's just like, yeah, no, just pour some water on him.
I think it's fine. And yeah, she just drenches him.
All right, so we go outside, and my man Bulletproof, to his credit, even he calls out how absurd it is that they were able to get off of that platform and hobble all the way down to the phone to make the call to them. Like, once he sees them encased in the concrete, even Bulletproof is calling this out.
Right? That was like, so funny. He's like, what the hell?
Like, I felt vindicated at this because I'm pretty sure I have literally uttered the words, how the fuck is this working, like 17 times at this point? Bro, I need to, like... I get a little worked up when I watch these shows, man.
That's why I love Bulletproof, man. He's straight up just no BS.
Oh, man, so we go back
Even
into...
the simple dynamics of things, he's like, no.
I just love how that we can get a show like this that is just so over the top and absurd. And sometimes you just gotta call out the over the topness. Like, just that beautiful meta of it.
And we need someone that smooth to do it.
Oh, yeah,
It works.
That's the thing, though. The call-out's gotta be from somebody just absolutely smooth like that. Ooh, buddy. So here's where things really get interesting. So we go back into the main events hall, and Big Boss finally announces who the criminal of the year is. It's Big Boss!
Of course! Why would you expect anything less?
Yes, he just gives the award to him.
dildo is mine, see?
Ooh, buddy. And Berserko and McBoomBoon are a little pissed, to say the least.
Oh, they're meddled. They're super meddled.
Oh, dude. But they don't have a lot of time to be angry because it's a police raid! The police are here!
Oh, yeah. And everybody goes running.
Oh, dude, everyone's running. There is action. Like, business picks up, man. Like, we had a little taste of it earlier with the car chase, but nah, once we get a few more cops on the scene and getting some people in and just... Oh, one of the funny parts, man, like, they kind of corralled some of these no-name, like, villains right in the back of like a carrier.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like right into a truck. They just go right in. A cop just like comes out from this side panel, just shuts the door on him.
And one of the things I was so like, it was so funny, what I was so mad about was like Big Boss just kind of wiping a tear away just after he announces he's the winner. He's like, oh god.
Right. All this planning, all this preparation to give myself this beautiful award.
Like,
all for nothing.
What a build-up. Like, what a build-up.
Right.
To just give it to himself. He's like, I'm so emotional.
Oh, dude, I laughed so hard at this.
What an a-hole, dude.
Like, for some reason, I did not expect him to give himself the award. But I was like, you know what? Actually, it works. It literally just works, and it makes sense.
That is what villains were back in the day, man. They were very self-centered.
But yeah, no.
To say the least.
And of course, everyone's trying to get away. Now, Bad Vibes, McBoomBoon, and Berserko do basically end up getting away. Bad Vibes actually drops this curtain from the main stage to the back, and yeah, it isn't shown, but somehow they get away. And of course, they'll be back for another round of crime eventually. And so, this basically things are starting to slow down. Bulletproof's giving a voiceover talking about, how they extradited all the criminals back to their countries for trial. So, I mean, overall, it was kind of a win for the cops. They still got a lot of international criminals. So, big bust. Very successful, even though some of their own local guys got away.
Yeah, that's true.
And so through all of this, Hardtop and Mainframe are still encased in the concrete.
Oh, don't forget about the gold dildo dropping out of the curtain or wherever it was.
Oh yeah, that's a piece of evidence now. That award, dude. Seriously,
man.
why?
Ugh, yeah.
Why does it look like a big golden dick?
It's like a big cobra dick. Pretty much is what it looks like.
I mean, I know 80s cartoons are just over the top and insane, but really? This thing's got to look like a dick.
Yeah. Remember, adults made these cartoons, so I'm pretty sure they just left that in there. Like, I hope no one notices. Or I hope someone does notice.
Right?
I'm just gonna put this dick right on this table.
Oh yeah, you mean like the the cover to the Little Mermaid VHS?
Yeah, dude, you remember that?
Dude, like that. I mean, if that's not a dick, that is just some very awful animation. But that
Leaning Tower of Penis.
It was totally a dick.
Yeah, and then all that other stuff that was in all those other Disney movies, it's ridiculous.
Oh, dude, that's a whole.
And they were proven as true,
right? Oh, that is a whole nother.
Like, I went back and watched Lion King, like when he flopped in the grass and like everything went up and it said the word sex or whatever. Like, I paused it. I had a VHS. I paused it.
Oh yeah, they tried to say it was like, no, it's SFX for special effects.
Like, no, that's an E.
Yep, very questionable.
I can spell.
Oh, dude, there are definitely some crazy ones. What was it? The Rescuers? Not the Rescuers Down Under, but the Rescuers. Like one of that hotel,
the nude card or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like one of they had the scene where they're staring at this like wall of like apartments, and yeah, one of them's like a little porn picture just inserted into the hotel, into that apartment. Dude, they're like,
and it was so quick. Like, you really had to look for it. But once you saw it and you caught that, like, you captured it, that's exactly what it was.
Right. And that's sort of the thing, man. Like, I guess at some point, especially back in those days, like the 80s and 90s, we're still doing a lot of the hand-drawn animation. So it probably got pretty, kind of tedious to have to draw the same thing over and over and over. Especially if you're doing higher frames per second for higher, video quality still. You have to draw all of those frames. And yeah, no,
Animation
animators
was
were
hard work back then.
dude, animators, that's why all those things came into the videos, man. Just animators like, no, I'm bored. I have to break this up. Here's something somebody will find. And like, no,
Yeah.
and nobody finds it until like long after they're like fired.
It's like, so you drew a penis on the Little Mermaid castle. You gotta go. Yeah, suck my Easter eggs, whatever.
But yeah, so yeah, all in all, dude, I actually thought this was a pretty fun episode of the series.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. It showed how pompous villains can really be, which was kind of the thing back then. They were just really pompous and really self-centered, and that's what made them funny.
And it's one of those shows, because like a lot of shows don't do episodes that are more villain-centric.
Right, you're absolutely right. It was centered around the villains.
Yeah, like the cops only had a couple of scenes in the episode, and there's a few that like there's some really good examples of that. There's a Transformers episode in season 3 called Web World, where the Autobots are in the first scene of the episode, but literally none through the rest of the episode. It's basically the episode is basically centered around Galvatron, and that's an episode we'll probably do. Probably very shortly, maybe once we get a couple episodes of Transformers in. But that'll definitely be one down the road, because it's actually one of my favorite episodes of Transformers, just because of how different it is. And that's definitely one of the things that really helped this episode in me. Surprisingly, like, I don't think a lot happened in this episode. It was just kind of like, scene, action. But it was still a good framing device of having it focused on the villains and doing something a little different.
Right, and you don't really get that a lot. Like, you'll maybe get like maybe one or two one-off episodes to where that happens, but those are the episodes, honestly, you remember the most, because as much as we focus on the heroes, like when they dwell into the villains like that, I guess it can say it gives you a whole new perspective.
Right. No, and I love when shows in general take some risks and really do something different. Because a lot of 80s cartoons, and that's the years it really had the kind of the stigma that a lot of the episodes were basically just 30-minute toy commercials.
Pretty much.
I know
it was just straight protagonist, and that was it.
Right, because you wanted to sell the good guys. I mean, you had to have enough moments to make people want to get the bad guy figures, at least to have something to beat up. But,
yeah.
I mean, the 80s were basically that generation where the cartoons were like, because really once you kind of get into the 90s, you see the restrictions and kind of the FCC rules being applied more into, how directly you can sell items through cartoons like that. And it's definitely an interesting time, to say the least, because the rules and requirements as you get into the 90s and the 2000s and the shift towards more educational programming, and when you had that little E/I on your screen telling you were going to learn something in that cartoon. Which those were the worst cartoons.
Holy crap!
Those were the worst cartoons ever. Like anything that had an EI that like wasn't Magic School Bus were basically terrible shows.
Oh yeah, because they kind of pushed it too hard, and it was like, where's the entertainment factor?
Right, because there weren't a lot of shows that really could balance that between being educational and entertaining. It's really why I feel like the 80s cartoons were the golden era, man. They were just perfection. We just had all the over-the-top villains, fantastic action. Like, I mean, they were educational in the sense of, like, learning right and wrong, but, and not just in the... Right, and not just in the sense of doing, like, the PSAs at the end to have that quick thing, but even throughout the show, like, you weren't learning like educational school things, but you were learning right from wrong. You were learning, good guys, bad guys. You were learning life lessons and being given a way to filter and come to, decisions about how you view the world and the kind of influence you want to have in the world. And it's really, I think, what 80s cartoons did the best. And they did that through the storytelling they did in the cartoons themselves, when they took more risks.
And the funny part was, what I like that Cops delved into sometimes was one particular episode that I'm starting to remember now was an episode where Hardtop was afraid of heights.
Oh, I think that's actually the first episode.
And he ended up overcoming that, and he's like, he looks in the screen and is like, yeah, anyone can overcome their fears. And like, he didn't let that stop him from doing his job. Like, he eventually overcame it.
Yeah, because like a little while back when I first got a hold of the series, I watched the first couple episodes just to remember what the whole vibe of the show was. And that's actually the first episode.
Yeah, and it's just it was interesting to me because, like, number one, you don't think of cops being scared of anything. Number two, it kind of just, like, he's basically telling you, yeah, you can conquer your fears too. And it was kind of like a positive vibe, but you didn't know that, okay, well, wow, cops are scared of stuff too. And as a kid, that kind of like, you're like, okay, wow, I didn't know that.
Right. No, and that's sort of the thing, like, as we got into later generations of cartoons, the lessons almost became more kind of obvious. But sort of these shows, they kind of let the lessons kind of breathe through the episode and be intertwined with it as they came to the point. I know a lot of times with more modern cartoons, you kind of just get the message at the end or just some weird random point in the middle, and then nothing really happens around it to get to that point a lot of times. Especially in media that's more aimed for children. The stuff that's aimed for adults is usually gets a little more smarter, like with the reboots of a lot of our cartoons. But
yeah, that's true.
No, that's why I love the 80s cartoons, man. That's why I wanted to do this show in the first place, is just really, and just kind of refocus and look at some of these shows as an adult and just kind of realize there's some crazy things going on, man.
Yeah, there is. And it's like, if you really look at cartoons now compared to what they were in the 80s, there is a huge difference. Like, cartoons now are just very random, and they don't really serve any purpose besides entertainment. It's just randomness to make you laugh. Mm-hmm. Like, back in the 80s, it made you laugh, it entertained you, it kept you on the edge of your seat, but at the same time, it also taught you a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's missing these days.
Yeah, and it sort of goes back to the dynamic of the mediums as well, because on TV, we didn't have back then the Netflix and the things we have now where you can, we don't have the instant access. Back then, they had to hook you right away.
Yeah, anticipation was everything because you had to wait until the next day or next week or whatever it was, depending on what show you watched. You had to wait. There was no binging. There was none of that.
Right.
Like, you could buy the VHS tapes, but you would still have to wait for the next VHS tape to come out.
Right. And that's sort of the thing with Netflix now. Like, they can craft a show and have it get to a point, but they're going to release the whole thing at once. Not, once a week or even once a day. So there's definitely a dynamic shift from when we were kids to now of how you consume media, how you can construct the media in a way to get your point across. Because a lot of times you didn't have that, you had to entertain now. I mean, a lot of shows did produce mass episodes, like, a lot of shows would have like the 65 episode arc, the seasons, because that was the number for syndication. If they had just 65 total episodes, they could sell off to syndication, get on multiple channels. But even then, a lot of the episodes had to be contained one shot because you really don't know what episode's going to air on what day on the syndicated channel.
Right, exactly.
Whereas you go to something on Netflix, they release the season, you start at the first episode, go through, but if it's a slow point, well, okay, I know it's going to build to something at the end of this arc. I've got to go through 10, 12, 13 episodes, but I know it's going somewhere. Back in our day, you could watch an episode and go, well, don't know when I'm going to get to see the next one.
Exactly.
Hope this was
good. But as soon as that next episode came on, dude, the excitement.
Oh, absolutely, man. I think that's really the feeling of nostalgia, man, at this point. It's so fun to go back and watch these cartoons and just relive that joy, that just absolute amazing feeling. And then we get to, feel it again as we get these different reboots and we get to experience them in a new way. They're made for the new generations, but there's so much stuff that we can enjoy as well. And, the shows that we had when we were a kid, it's definitely a different experience because, people get to see them with their kids now and they get to see the joy that it brings them and their reactions and kind of go, oh yeah, that's the reaction I had when I was a kid.
Right, exactly. And then going back, me being a dad myself, going back and showing your kids what you used to watch and them actually getting into it and wanting to see more and more and more of it, I'm going to tell you right now, that is such a proud feeling because now extra nostalgia set in. You're showing them what you used to watch as a kid. It's like, oh, this is cool. I like this. And you get to relive it. And while your kids are living it for the first time, you get to relive that with your own kids. Dude, it's a ridiculous feeling. Mm-hmm. It's super awesome. My kids, they're like Ninja Turtles now, and I'm starting to show them what I used to watch back then, and they're into it. They're on board. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to keep introducing them to more and more and more stuff. And it's the cliche is you got to know the classics before you know the modern. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. It's crazy reliving that, especially when you have kids and rewatch that stuff with them. It's a fantastic feeling. There's nothing like it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And of course, we're just going to keep getting that nostalgic feeling as we go on, man, because we're here for the long haul. And I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Totally Radical Cartoon Podcast. And don't forget to check us out at geekworldorder.com, facebook.com/geekworldorder, Instagram and Twitter at geekworldorder. And of course, please don't forget to go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, or anywhere else that you'd like to subscribe to a podcast, man. Of course, give us the old 5-star review, give us that text rating, and definitely help us out, man. Help the show grow. That's how we get to where we need to be. So definitely just give us some positive feedback. Another thing you can do, if you want to leave a text rating on iTunes or your podcast provider, go ahead and do so. We definitely want to encourage creative reviews. If you can think of anything fun or creative 80s related, go ahead, man. And once we get some of those reviews in, we might read them on the show here if we can get some good ones in.
Oh, I would love that. By all means, please send those reviews in. If you like what's going on now, trust me, it's just going to get better and better. Wait till you see what we do next. The next shows we'll be doing. It's just going to get better. Trust us. This is the 80s. You can't not do great things with 80s cartoons. So you're going to love it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And once again, we are the Totally Radical Cartoon Podcast. We will see you next time.
Cops, roll call. Highway, Mainframe, Long Arm, Bowser and Blitz, Sundown, Hardtop, Mirage, Bullseye, Mace, Barricade, and they call me Bulletproof. These are Empire City's most wanted crooks. Berserko, Rock Crusher, Misdemeanor, Turbo Two-Tone, Dr. Bad Vibes, Nightshade. Use caution in apprehending.